Hello, my name is Terry. This video will cover our 2014 overnight Halloween investigation at the Tri-County Truck Stop. I normally don't attend Halloween ghost hunts, but I was fortunate in that this one proved to be so active. While I was in the break room area, I was speaking with one of my friends who was seated at the other end of the table. I was standing at the opposite end. When I felt on my left shoulder someone tapping me repeatedly on the left shoulder. When I looked to see who it was, there was no one there. This is only a second time that something physically has ever touched me during a ghost hunt. Most of the times it happens to other people around me and I witness it happening to them, but it never happens to me. This is the second time that it's happened, and it's been at the same location at the Tri-County Truck Stop. The first occasion was when something scratched me on the leg on a previous investigation. These were the only two instances where something physical happened to me. Whatever it was that had tapped me on the shoulder 3 or 4 times wasn't accompanied by any sounds, any unusual smells, or other physical anomalies like cold spots. It was simply a very physical, determined tapping on my left shoulder, like it was an urgent event, like something was really desperate to get my attention. The second highly unusual event occurred down in the cellar. Several of us were down there in total darkness when we saw a light which seemed to be moving like a rodent scurrying across the floor, but it was changing directions in bizarre manners, and it was made of light. This thing, whatever it was, quickly vanished a few seconds after we saw it. We didn't have our cameras aimed at it in time to capture it. Normally these unusual lights down in the cellar don't look like this, and they don't move like a rodent scurrying across the floor. This was highly unusual, and I wish we'd been able to document it because I've never seen anything quite like it. The first 2 clips were recorded before any of the guests had arrived. In the first clip, you'll hear a male EVP voice speak. It says the word "listen." The second clip was recorded in the exact same room as the first one. It's upstairs where the truckers would spend the night. In this clip, you'll hear the sound of footsteps walking across the concrete floor. What's very distinctive about these footsteps is that they're very heavy sounding. At the end of the clip, you'll hear the rattling of the roof as winds blow across the upper part of the building. In the next clip, you'll hear a woman speaking, but the voice I want you to pay attention to isn't hers. It's an EVP voice that's saying the words, "help me." It's in a very non-human sounding voice, and this is typical of the voices that are recorded at this location. The next clip contains 2 photos that I took at the top of the stairway at the room where the truckers' rest area is. I was pointing it down the stairway. The first picture turned out normal. The 2 that followed had been affected by something that I saw move across in front of my field of view while I was holding the camera. These, whatever were, blacked out the next 2 frames. Then the camera returned to normal operation. I can't describe what I saw because it was in total darkness, but I saw something pass in front of me on the stairway. I didn't get a good look at what it was, so I can't describe what it was. But whatever it was managed to black out the next 2 frames. Loud crashing sounds are very common at this truck stop. What was unusual, though, is that we had everyone, about a dozen people, in the area where whatever it was that was causing the crashing sound to occur could not identify where it came from. We knew that it was coming from the dining area, the concave area toward the front, and there were many people in that part of the room, but nobody saw what was triggering it. Nothing fell over and nothing landed on the floor. Yet something very loud and large crashed to the floor, but it was completely undetected by all these people who were in the room.
Did Carol used to serve pies?
Did you hear that?
Was that someone?
No, I'm in the grill area.
I'm here.
The next clip was recorded in the bar area. One of the people asked about the sheriff having been poisoned. There are stories surrounding a sheriff having been poisoned at the Tri-County Truck stop. In this clip, you'll hear a voice reply to her question, and it says, "could be." This might be a light, frivolous answer, an almost flippant answer to her question. It might be just playing games with us. Was a policeman poisoned at this restaurant?
Was it from the pie?
The next clip contains an EVP voice, but it's speaking so quickly it's very difficult to understand. I'll play the original version, and then I'll play a second version. I sent it off to Ken to see if he could reduce the speed of it and send it back to me. And thanks, Ken, for getting this done. He reduced the speed approximately 50%, and in the played back version at half speed, you can hear it saying, "I'm upset with," but I can't quite make out what's being said beyond that point. It's very interesting that some of these EVP voices are not being spoken at the same rate that our human language is. They tend to be running at a much faster speed. This is very common with some EVPs, that they need to be reduced to actually tell what's being said.
That one's bad. That one's going off. Well, you know what? You're the equipment.
The next clip was recorded in the cellar. Brian, who's a Civil War reenactor, was having a conversation with one of the guests about the roles of women during Civil War battles. While they're having this conversation, another voice pipes up and says the word "right," as if it's agreeing with the comments that are being said. This isn't the first time that we've had other voices commenting on our conversations and chiming in, adding their 2 cents worth while we're talking.
Didn't they have, like, okay, my son goes off to war, he's my only son, could I follow him?
You would, but you'd be in camp.
Invincible.
Absolutely.
The next clip was recorded in the truckers' rest area while we were conducting an EVP session. We just finished one series of questions, of serious questions, and we're going to prepare a line of frivolous questions. Before we'd started the second line of questioning, a voice pipes up, "need a doctor" or "need a doctor." This could be a residual haunting voice asking for the assistance of a doctor, because none of us present were physicians or would be able to assist it. And if they're already dead and didn't know that they passed over, it would make sense that they were asking for help. Now, I think she should start asking frivolous questions. Yeah. The next clip was recorded while Ken's PSB7 ghost box was running in the cellar. What's interesting is that people criticize these devices because they are playing FM radio station frequencies that have been chopped up into small portions. But what's interesting is that the voices coming out of it are saying the exact same things that the EVPs that we get without the ghost box running. In the first one, a voice says the word help, which is also one of the most common things that we get on EVPs at the Tri-County Truck Stop. And in the next clip, the words help me come from the PSB7 ghost box. Again, these are the most common phrases that are documented without these ghost boxes. But for some reason, the exact same phrases are coming through these devices. Sometimes I test these entities for psychic abilities. We went upstairs to the rest area for the truckers and began an EVP session. I have this box with me that only I knew the contents of. We asked the entity what was inside the box. On Ken's voice box recorder, he received a reply. It said fossils. This is correct. Inside I had dinosaur teeth, a few Indian artifacts, and other prehistoric items. So if it had answered dinosaur teeth, or fossils, all of these answers would have been correct. But the odds of it having said fossils are astronomically small. Can you tell me what is in this box? We left Ken's voice box running unattended. It recorded this bizarre conversation. I believe that this might be a voice that is repeating some past event. It's too complicated to go word for word, so I'll post the text and then play the audio clip recorded. In the next clip, a female investigator asks the entity a question, "Can you see us?" There's a long pause, But at the end of that time, a voice pipes up and says the word no.
Do you see us standing in there?